Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington is most likely going to happen at UFC 295 as a co-headliner of Jones versus Miocic. And I'm excited for this fight because it's a big fight in the welterweight division, and I think Colby will actually take out Leon in this fight. Now, you can call me crazy all you want, but I think I have a couple good points that you can't really deny. And I think at the end of the video, I think I might be able to change a couple of people's minds on this because it's a lot closer of a fight than some people are giving Colby a chance, to have. But I think it's still going to be a washout in the last 3 rounds by Colby, just by his pressure. And let me get to my points and let me know what you guys think of it. So first of all, this fight is not at elevation or anything like that, like Usman versus Edwards 2. But if it was at elevation, I would actually favor Colby even more, just because we've never actually seen him gas out like Leon did in their second fight. But it's not at elevation, so at least there's that. And both of these guys aren't really finishers. Like we can try to hype up Leon, from the Usman knockout. But when was the last time he actually got a knockout or a finish in general? And same thing with Colby. So both of these guys are decision merchants like Bilal. Maybe they have a little bit higher percentage than Bilal. I'm not too sure on that actually, because none of them really get finishes at all. I mean, Leon's last finish was versus Usman, which is, yeah, sure, 2 fights ago or 1 fight ago. But I mean, before that, I can't really remember off the top of my head who he finished last. So let's just keep it real. I think this fight is gonna go to the judges' scorecards. So let's start there. I think it's gonna go to judges' scorecards, and to get to judges' scorecards, you have to basically not gas out in front of Colby, otherwise he's gonna dominate you in the last couple of rounds. Now, starting from the gas tanks, let's just make it clear: Colby has probably the best gas tank in the UFC. I don't think I've seen. Well, maybe Marab might have a better gas tank than him, but otherwise, nobody in his weight class will out cardio him. Like it's just not gonna happen. And we've seen Leon gas out a little bit here and there. He's done pretty good in his 5 rounders. He looked pretty good against Nate Diaz, except for getting rocked, in the last minute. But he looked pretty good on the gas tank. He kept a pretty decent pressure. But that's against Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz doesn't really pressure you too hard unless he hurts you, unless he sees a potential to finish you. And so Nate Diaz is kind of just a punching bag that you're just going to keep hitting for 25 minutes. So I can't really give him too much credit for not gassing out there, but at least he made it through 5 rounds. And against Usman in their second fight, I'm not going to judge it too much because it was at elevation and this fight won't be. And Edwards in the third fight didn't gas out. He looked pretty good in that fight. But in the second fight against Usman, we saw that Leon can gas out. And once he gasses out, he's kind of just a punching bag to be hit. A lot of people just want to discredit that fight. Oh, it was that elevation, it was this, it was that. But what happens if Leon actually gasses out after 3 rounds of Colby just pressuring him nonstop? Because Colby is just like a pressure monster. He's going to take him down. I think Colby has a little bit better wrestling. He has better chain wrestling for sure than Usman does. So I think Colby 100% will take him down in the first, second round. And what's going to happen when Leon can't just get up, by giving his back up like he did to Usman? Colby actually has better jiu-jitsu, which his isn't very good to begin with, but at least it's better than Usman's, where Leon was able to just give up his neck. He gave up his back to Usman because he knew Usman wasn't going to do anything about it. So I think that's where a little bit more of a threat comes in with Colby for potentially getting finished, like it's going to happen anyway. But the potential of, I can't give my back to Colby, it's going to make it a lot harder for Leon Edwards to get up once he gets taken down. Now, I don't want to get too sidetracked on, exactly how I think the whole fight is going to be. I kind of want to go round by round just so that you guys can understand my points and see, what I see, how I see it's going to go, essentially. So let's start with round 1. Round 1, I think it's going to be very, very close. I think Leon will probably outpoint Colby because his striking definitely is a little bit better. But I don't think it's going to be a crazy, that was a dominant round by Leon Edwards. I think it'll be a very, very close round. And some media members might give it to Colby. Most of them will probably give it to Leon. I'm just going to think it's going to be a 10-9. Clean run for Leon. He'll probably stuff a couple of takedowns and, possibly even hurt Colby, maybe rock him a little bit, because Colby is coming off a pretty long layoff. His last one was against Jorge Masvidal. And it's been a long time since then. So I think he'll come in a little bit rusty in the first round, possibly in the second round as well. But I think first round definitely will go to Leon. Second round, once we move on, I think Colby's going to start looking a little bit better, looking a little bit more like himself. But I think this one will probably be more of a swing round. I think Colby will take down Leon a little bit more. He'll pressure him even harder. And we'll start to see that wrestling takedown defense that Leon had to work on this whole entire time. I think Colby will take him down at least 2 to 3 times. But he's not just going to take him down like Usman and do nothing. Because Usman wasn't doing anything. He tried to land a couple strikes here and there, but he couldn't. But Colby isn't really more for striking. He'll hit you a little bit here and there just so that the ref doesn't stand you up. But he kind of lays on top of you and threatens submissions like he did against Jorge Masvidal. So Colby will probably take him down. Leon will try to get up, or Colby, he's going to chain wrestle a little bit and take him down over and over and over again. Technically, it'll be a 1 or 2 takedowns, but it's kind of be more like 5 or 6 times where he's getting up and then he's back down to the ground, getting up, kind of getting back down to the ground. That's how I think round 2 goes, and I'll probably say, I don't know, 2 judges give it to Colby, 1 gives it to Leon. You know, like that's how close the swing round will kind of be. Round 3, I think this is where it's going to start getting very interesting, because the fact that Colby will most likely be on top, you know, threatening little submissions, kind of like putting his weight on Leon, I think it's going to start to gas Leon out a little bit by the 3rd round, because people who have had pretty decent success against Usman, like Jorge Masvidal, he's not the best example to show, but I think it's a pretty decent example to show, because Jorge was able to stuff all of Usman's takedowns, and when Usman took him down, he still looked pretty good in their first fight. But against Colby, he gassed out like in the 2nd, 3rd round. He was dead. He was exhausted. He couldn't do anything. So I think we'll kind of see a similar thing against Leon. So I think Leon will probably look pretty decent in the first minute of round 3, but then he's going to start to gas. And all of a sudden, his strikes are a lot easier to telegraph. His strikes are a lot more labored. Colby's going to take him down easier. He's going to start chain wrestling him even easier and easier and pummeling him. Kind of, you know, his little tit-tat shots. Colby has pillow hands, so he can go with this pace forever. And that's how I kind of think the rest of the fight will start to look like. By the end of the 3rd round, it'll be a clear 3rd round for Colby, which everyone's going to start to question, oh crap, like how is Leon going to survive the next 2 rounds with Colby, who's probably barely even breathing, still breathing out of his nose, chilling, drinking his bang in the side with his little mamacitas, you know? Now the 4th round will probably start to look more like a domination round for Colby Covington. You know, Leon will probably look pretty good for the first 30 seconds to a minute, just from sitting on the stool, drinking some water. But I think it's just going to become a more and more dominant round from Colby. I think he's going to start to really dominate Leon in the 3rd round, or 4th round, sorry. And, you know, potentially could be a 10-8 round, you know what I mean? Like, that's how bad I think Colby's going to start to dominate him and just beat him up on the ground. And the reason I'm saying this is because once Leon is gassed, he's kind of just there to be taken down and to get beaten up. You know, like a lot of people want to say that the Usman 2nd fight is not a fight that you can, you know, look back on and take anything from, because he was completely gassed from the elevation. But I mean, elevation, yeah, that'll gas him out after the 1st round. But what happens when you have someone like Colby, another man that's almost the same size as you, on top of you, constantly hitting you, choking your neck, stopping your breathing? Like, that's going to gas you out potentially even harder than bad elevation for you. You know, so I think that's probably what it's going to look like, because, like, I'm not just getting this out of nowhere, because Colby does that to everybody. Nobody can outlast Colby unless they're Usman, and Usman is lab grown, so you can't really compare it too much. Anybody who's like fully natural, unlike Usman, someone that actually looks like they're natural, that just has like a normal looking fighter, they can never outlast Colby. RDA gassed against Colby in the last couple rounds. So I think the same thing is going to happen to Leon in the 4th and in the 5th. I think the 5th is going to be a very, very clear domination by Colby. And that's how I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a clear, unanimous decision, you know, with not a 50-45. It'll be like a 49-46, 49-45 potentially, with a 10-8 round in there, either round 4 or round 5. But I think Colby will dominate him to become the new welterweight champion. And something I almost forgot to touch on is the chin of Colby Covington, that granite chin of his. I mean, he's been hurt here and there. He got slightly dropped by Jorge Masvidal, but Jorge Masvidal has really showed to have some good hands. He's knocked out a lot of people, and he got hurt by Usman, of course, but he recovered so fast. His recovery is almost more impressive than his chin itself. He can take a big shot, but he can recover extremely fast. And Leon hasn't showed to have that kind of chin. Now, he probably doesn't have to worry, against Colby, but Leon did get hurt and almost finished by pillow hands Brian Barberena. So that's another point to kind of throw in there, you know, because it potentially could happen. And some people might just come after me calling me a Colby fan or you know, or Trumpy or whatever. But I mean, I'm not the biggest Colby fan. His antics are a little bit cringe. Sure, they're kind of funny, a little bit interesting here and there, but they're kind of cringe. I mean, the press conference against Jorge Masvidal was super cringe in my opinion. A lot of people loved it. I was really not a fan of just them yapping over each other. It's kind of cringe in my opinion. But I mean, I just think that that's how it goes. I'm not the biggest Colby fan or anything like that, so don't accuse me of that. Like he's cool, I guess, but it's kind of annoying a little bit. I hate the fact that he's super inactive. He just wasted his entire prime. But I mean, maybe the fact that he hasn't been fighting in his prime might extend it slightly because he's not taking damage. He's not taking big fights or anything like that. He's not going through training camps. He's just, you know, keeping himself in really good shape and keeping up in his cardio and stuff like that. So I don't really see a reason why people are saying that Colby is going to be out of his prime, because he never really fought in his prime, to be honest. He only fought Usman, and you know, the second fight was a very, very close fight with Usman, which arguably could have gone his way. But and then after that, he just had the Jorge Masvidal fight, but that was an easy fight. He took one big punch in the fourth round, and that was it. But otherwise, it was a clear domination. All 5 rounds easily went to Colby in that fight, you know. So he never really got tested while in his quote-unquote prime, so he could still be in it. I think he's 35, so he's starting to get up there in age. And I think Leon's 32, 33, so he's not much older than Leon. So I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. Some people are claiming that Leon's going to knock him out just like he knocked out Usman, because Usman was able to knock out Colby. But I think it's been very obvious that MMA math does not work. I think I'm going to have to make a video about that later. So stay tuned for that. And I just think it's going to be a dominant 3rd, 4th, and 5th for Colby. First 2 rounds will be very close. So let me know what you guys think. That's my take on it. I'm officially picking Colby to win the fight, even though the fight's not even official yet. But it's most likely going to happen at MSG. That's what everyone's been rumoring about. That's what all the talks have been. So let's just hope it's then. And that's how I think it's all going to go down. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and see ya.
Fuck you, MMA Vic.